everybody in phones, it's all Android and Apple. Have you ever met anybody who is interested in the Windows Phone?
None at all. I'm sure they exist somewhere, like hobbits. I've never seen them. But Tolkien did say that hobbits have got a good habit of sneaking away and not being noticed by us big people. So you never know. That could be the Windows Phone 7 Series, Phone 7 Series 7 customer. I don't know.
But the funny thing... Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I noticed that story, I think it was on Slashdot, possibly, earlier on today. And from what I picked up, it wasn't AT&T. I didn't read the full article. I'm typical Slashdot. I didn't read the full article. But I did read the sort of the summary and the comments and things. And from what I picked up, it was a Samsung thing. It wasn't AT&T. Maybe the same article, I'm not sure. But the impression I got was that the SD card was, there was someone pointed out in the comments about a Freudian slip, about expendable memory, not expandable. Because once you put it in, what it's actually doing is acting like extra RAM or extra memory, system memory, so that OEMs, like your O2s, your Vodafones and Orange and all these people, the carriers can actually buy the bulk, the base phones, and then say, right, we're going to sell one with 8 gig of RAM or 8 gig of memory for this price, or we're going to do a deal with a 16 gig version for this monthly rate, or that type of thing. So the impression I got was it's an easy way for OEMs to be able to customize it and give that amount of that option to their customers.
Windows Vista had a kind of a feature like that. I think it was called ReadyBoost. You could put a USB stick or something and use it as memory.
I think that's a little bit different, because from what I'm aware, that's a sort of an optional thing that you don't need to have it plugged in, and you can still use it as an extra device, an extra USB drive somewhere else. From what I understand of this, is once you plug the SD, I think it's micro SD actually, into the device, it then formats it and creates, effectively, it merges the memory that it already has into this partition somehow, and adds that memory in. So it effectively becomes your internal memory. It merges with the internal memory. It's like the Borg. It assimilates it, essentially, and it's no use to you outside of that.
I'll run one application at a time, so I wonder if the developer is supposed to know how much memory is available to begin with, because with phones, I think, I'm not sure about Android, because it varies depending on the phone, but usually you know how much memory you have, and you don't have this issue of trying to run lots of applications at the same time. I think what it does, it saves the data before you move between applications and then tries to restore things. So maybe it's more of a marketing thing. I'm not sure.
I mean, reading past the summary, I think Gordon's right here. It's Samsung's been mentioned and said about the card won't be readable in any other devices such as computers, cameras, printers, and so on. So I think Gordon had it spot on. The summary of what it's actually doing is pretty vague on here. But I just thought it was ironic, and I'm quite sure if in a few days' time, if you type Microsoft blames, you'll find it's somebody else's fault that the cards are incompatible.
As much as I love to bash Microsoft when they deserve it, it looks like in this case, it's maybe not that bad, because it's not that apparently, from what I picked up in the comments. Apparently the actual SD card or the micro SD card slot, it's not as if it's easily accessible to the user. It's something that you have to peel the sticker off, and it tells you it voids the warranty, and really don't do this, and it gives you all these warnings. It's not something that's as if it's facing the outside of the device or with a slot on the edge of the case or something like that. So it is more of an internal thing that only IT people would open their phone up and get that deep into it, or vendors. I don't know. That's from what I'm picking up. So it's not as if they're doing it from an outside slot to tempt you to do it, and then ruin your device. So.
Mm. But well, that's just coming. Well, we can add that onto the list of no tethering, etc., for the Windows Phone problems.
Does anyone have any figures of, well, how much they sell? Because all we have now is the 40,000 upon launch, and that's also not confirmed because Microsoft chooses not to comment on that, which probably means it's true, because if it wasn't true, they probably would say something. But how do you think it scales? Like, if it's 40,000 upon launch, do you reckon it's like maybe 4,000 a day now, or well, do you know
I wouldn't even like to
a curve that you can actually estimate. If it's 40,000 upon launch, maybe it's 10,000 now or 4,000 a day now. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess that the mobile phone market is a mystery to me. I mean, what I can say for my peers, nobody even knows that Windows Phone 7 exists. But that's like my circle of friends.
All the pages in ZDNet now have an advertisement at the top. I just saw this today because I was watching quite a few of these kind of weird pieces. It's all just basically blogs, and the top is just completely full of the Windows Phone 7 or whatever. And I just thought that they must be paying quite a bit of money to put it there, and they have lots of in terms of budget. But what I was going to say before is, I'm not sure we've covered this on the show, but Chips gave us a link about them trying to, I think we spoke about it a couple of days ago actually, they start to sell the phones in the same way they did with the Kin. It's kind of like the same old story once again. They sell them almost for free, and they cut prices. They just try to get people to use them or to buy them quite desperately. And it was already cheap to begin with. They basically cut it to like something like 99 cents, just pick up this phone, just use this thing, and get a contract quite cheaply. But they really are quite desperate to try to push the number up. And that kind of tells you it could be the same story as before, just much more marketing, because the King didn't have this much in terms of
marketing. A couple of things there is, first of all, Microsoft do like to count the sales to companies as sales. So when I got my netbook, for example, I bought it out of Argos, and that would already have been counted as a sale while it was in Argos's warehouse, because Argos bought it.
Yeah, channel stuff, they call that. I don't think they could channel stuff so well this time around, because lots of shops would not want to buy. I mean, having bought Vista before, and quite a few of the shops that sell you the phones, they got burned when they tried to sell the Kin, and I know that Samsung wasn't quite so sure about even making any phones with Windows Phone 7 in it.
I think that's a shrewd guess, actually. I mean, I heard you saying that on one of the other episodes, and that really does ring true to me. Because, I mean, what I've noticed with Microsoft, by hook or by crook, they are, quote, good, unquote, at really screwing a market that they set the bar on. So if it's like a generic PC that you can buy out of a shop, they set the bar because they ensure there's nothing else in the customer's eyesight. The customer can't buy anything else. I mean, sure, they can go into a specialist shop and all that, but that's never going to compete in price. So when they set the bar, they're good at dominating that. The problem comes where someone else has already set the bar, and the customer already has expectations of what the other guys are doing. In the case of MP3 players, people know what an iPod can do, so they're not going to expect anything less in terms of features and quality, build quality and whatever from the Zune. They're just not going to accept it. Anyone else that goes into that market has to compete with the device that people know and experience and know what to expect from. They've got to compete with the iPod. When it comes to smartphones, the iPhone, again, is the other one that people initially they know the iPhone experience. They know how slick it should be when they're using it. They know how smooth it should change pages and how smooth applications should open. and that type of thing. They know how sharp the graphics should be, and any phone that has to compete in that space has to compete on the level that people expect from the iPhone.